short-term pullback in the market, and that's what we got. So at least on the Qs, a little bit different on the SPY, but we'll take a look at them both here once the other stream is up and running, and I think we're good to go. All right. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for January 15th, 2020. Qs are going to be down just a little bit, 0.17. We'll see if we extend those losses just a little bit here into the close. SPY is going to be just about flat here. Okay. Coming into today, bullish bias. We did get a little bit of a pullback yesterday here on the hourly, right? And I was saying if we move up, we don't get a new high and we actually fail on this pivot underneath yesterday's low, we can start to look for a short-term pullback. And that the long-term, not quite yet to change the bullish bias, but we can watch for maybe for a few hours or a couple days of pulling back here in the market before we get some kind of significant change on the daily chart here. And so what we were potentially looking for, we did get on the Qs here. Qs not able to make a new high. SPY did make a new high just by a little bit. All right. So what I'm going to be looking for going into tomorrow, now that we've got the Qs underneath yesterday's low, is to look for the follow through and then the next setup. Okay, so the reason we haven't talked too much about a bearish bias as of late is because we've always been a couple setups away from it, right? So we've needed to break this hourly uptrend first, which we are attempting to do here, right? So I'd like to see us come in more, and then on with the retracement, or if we go into a base, we can start to expect lower prices, and no longer are these dips going to be buyable opportunities. Okay, so going into tomorrow, more neutral, right, on the Qs. SPY really should stay bullish as far as the bias goes. So it's going to be neutral to bullish on the market, and then if we get some kind of selling, be looking for the next setup as an opportunity short, right? So we've seen kind of the case for this in the past when the uptrend on the hourly here is broken, but you can see there just hasn't been follow through to those breaks. So to me, it's only wise that we let that hourly trend really start some kind of downtrend before we start trying to call any kind of short-term tops or even long-term tops, right? You can see the daily's just been in this grind higher. So we'll follow the trend until the trend ends, right? So that's the plan. That's what we've been doing now for weeks. And so if we get something different, we'll be using the smaller time frame here to kind of clue us in to maybe a larger time frame pullback. All right, so that's going to be the plan for tomorrow. Neutral to bullish. We'll see if we get more weakness, and then we can actually start talking about maybe some short opportunities and the market doing some kind of meaningful pullback. All right, on to the TGT, the only play from me today. And, after something like yesterday where I had ICHR as the favorite overall gap, much less the favorite gap up, today I wanted to make sure that I really focused on what was the favorite gap. Okay, and so for me, that was the target here. Target was gapping down. The news was that holiday sales or something was negative, and I guess they reaffirmed guidance. Wasn't really that concerned with the actual news itself, but just how the market was interpreting, how the market was reacting to it, and what was happening was gapping underneath this bottoming tail, leaving behind this month of trading. So immediately when I saw this gap, this was a bearish bias. As I went through the gaps list, this was the number one gap. And so if you were in the room today, you know that I actually called it twice. And the first time I called it, it didn't trigger. So I was looking for us to set up a sell setup in this area here. It didn't want to roll over, and it just continued to grind higher. So that canceled out the idea. Now this part is highlighted here. This I do not play. I find it too aggressive, although you can see here it surely worked. Okay, this strong rally and then kind of puts in a pivot and then rolls over. I am waiting for the next entry. I am waiting for the kind of morning strength to get erased, negated, and then look for the next play, which is why the call came up in here. But then it continued to grind higher, no play. All right, eventually we did come back to the lows here, and by then I was looking at the 5 minute and the 2 minute. We do have a base here, and so we played this breakdown here under the lows, under 116.60 by 117.25. Okay, so this was the breakdown here. You can see we got some nice kind of pickup in momentum there. Follow through. We did take our first target here at 115.70 as soon as we kind of came in, and the market gave us a little bit of a boost there, just as far as reaching further down, accelerating the trend just a little bit. We did trail half. Okay, so we came in over the 1 minute bar, 115.70. That's where the first piece came out. So not too bad on the first piece. And then we kind of let the second half play out. Okay, so I did want to stay in it as long as I could, as long as this downtrend remained. So we were in it for quite a while, at least the second half. Eventually, it did trail out over this pivot here, over 116.40. Okay, you can see that. I was willing to stick with the hourly here. Eventually, that did trail right above there. And you can see it's been kind of working its way back up. So, you know, small winner, really didn't have that much that we could have, I think, done. For my management, it was traded according to the management, basically to the T. I think the only thing that we could have done better, or that I could have done better, is use a tighter stop. Okay, instead of using the stop up here, 117.20, I think there was a case to be made. I'm going to remove this box here because that was what we played, to kind of play it as the consolidation. Now we are involving less bars, less time spent in the formation of this bar, so that often means you can more easily get shaken out as well, but that would have provided a much better reward to risk. That wasn't really my primary concern for just a small move on the target, and that I was, needed to be trying to get as tight a stop as possible, because I was looking for bigger targets as we were going to be digging deeper into the void area here. So I was looking for more to 115. And so because I was looking for, dollars per share as targets, I wasn't really looking to play too tight of a stop. I just wanted to actually have more of a secure stop. And I liked having more of a 5-minute base here to be played, as opposed to this little bit of a 2-minute base that we had. So, that was the trade-off that I was willing to make, a bigger stop, but then the reward to risk is reduced a little bit. But it made sense to me to play it that way. So, overall in the TGT, don't really, have too much, I think, exceptional about this. I like the gap. I got a breakdown, played the breakdown, got to target one, and then trailed the back half a little bit better than break even. Okay, so kind of a uneventful, kind of standard kind of play. Just manage how I expect to be managed, because of course not all plays are going to be go climactic for you and go for 4 or 5. I think we had one earlier this week that maxed out at 12 Rs. Obviously we didn't get all 12 Rs, but on this kind of play, there's going to be a lot of these. I don't mind them. Just another one, not too bad. Just a small winner here. Okay, I expect lots more trading ahead. All right, earnings season is just getting started. I'm just a little bit surprised how many people are kind of pre-announcing and putting things out early, but that's good because in the beginning, it's a little bit slower, and then in the middle, it gets kind of overwhelming. And so the more people that kind of push their reports or guide earlier helps give us kind of more things to do during these quieter, earlier innings of earnings season. So. Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. Looking forward to earnings season. Hope you're doing well, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. Okay, I'll talk to you then.